There had been a brief moment in the waning days of summer 2013 in which both Syria's government and the rebels believed that a US strike was imminent. The signing of the Geneva Agreement crushed those hopes. If America would not strike even when its own honor was at stake, the rebels were truly on their own. It was then that many in the rebel movement began to look elsewhere for help. The most extreme voices within Syria's Islamist camp, groups such as Al-Nusra Front and the Islamic State, had long argued that the Western powers could not be trusted. Beginning that fall, both groups witnessed a surge in recruitment unlike anything seen since the start of the war. In just 3 months, the larger one, ISIS, had taken control of Raqqa, Syria's sixth largest city, and was preparing to march across northern Iraq. For these groups, the Red Line had become a recruitment tool. It allowed the jihadists to tell people, the West doesn't care about you, it's all lies, no one is coming to help you. Houssam Alnahhas, the young physician in Aleppo known as Chemical Hazem, had seen some of these Islamists at his hospital. At first, they came around looking for medical treatment for their wounded. Sometimes the medical staff would try to engage the bearded visitors in conversation, pressing them on why they wanted to replace a secular dictatorship with a religious one. After the sarin attack, Al-Nahhas was too absorbed in his work to pay attention to politics. He also had fallen in love. A young woman named Yasmin worked in the hospital pharmacy, and the two had grown close. During air raids, or when helicopters hovered low over the building, the young doctor and his new friend would run to find one another. Often they huddled together under a hospital bed until the danger had passed. Either we survive together or die together, Al-Nahhas said. During a quiet interval, he traveled to Yasmin's childhood home to tell her parents that he intended to marry her. Al-Nahhas, meanwhile, had begun looking for a safer setting for his chemical weapons training program, and he eventually found one in Bab al-Hawa, a town in a relatively quiet district near the Turkish border. The couple was beginning to think about a future family, and Aleppo, with its daily aerial bombings and legions of Islamist fighters, was far too dangerous. Both also perceived that the uprising itself had changed. The young men and women who had inspired them with their brave protests in 2011 were mostly gone now, replaced by a new breed of radicalized, hate-filled killers like the young Islamist soldier who taunted Al-Nahhas one day as he awaited treatment at the Aleppo hospital. You relied on the West, but they will not help you, and we will continue to die, the youth said. For me, my life is already destroyed, so what do I have to lose? Al-Nahhas ignored the taunts just as he tuned out the predictions of aid workers who tried to convince him that the chemical weapons threat was now finished. Each day, the triage center at the border hospital overflowed with men, women, and children, suffering from every imaginable variety of injury and wound. Syria's northern cities were being systematically depopulated, and the fleeing survivors spoke of acts of brutality that defied comprehension. Al-Nahhas patched up bodies, and during free moments, he got on his computer to ask for more protective gowns and masks. This wasn't over, not even close.